Welcome, everybody. Thanks for coming out to our session on Soundtrap. This is a collaborative audio production tool that sort of does for audio what Google Docs did for text, essentially. So if you're giving any assignments where you have students working together to make a podcast, this is the tool that we recommend to do that, because you don't have to have a project live on one student's laptop and then figure out how to send the files back and forth and all that. It just lives in the cloud, and everyone can edit it on their computer or iPad or even iPhone. So we have 500 licenses for Soundtrap, which go through the next few months. So basically anyone interested in using this, we should have enough licenses for you. We're lucky to have the administrator of that account, Matt McLean, on the line with us today, who's going to take us through and show how he has been using Soundtrap in his music classes. And hopefully from that, you'll be able to get a good feel for if you want to use it for music or if you want to use it for podcasts. The overall interface is the same regardless of what type of project you want to do. So let's hand it over to Matt. And
okay. Thanks, Morgan. So I guess I'll share my screen so y'all can see Soundtrap in action. And I just want to reiterate kind of what Morgan said. This application is really useful to use with students because it all works in the browser. I do want to stress that you really want to make sure you're using the Chrome browser. Most sort of music technology recording things are formatted to really work best in Chrome. So most of us probably are anyway, but you do want to use this in Chrome. There's a great iPad app that syncs with our account and it works great on the iPad. So that's easy enough. So just going to go over just the quick nuts and bolts of Soundtrap, and then sort of how students can access it and how you can share projects and how it also integrates with Canvas, because that's a nice feature as well. So this is the interface. I'm going to go just to my home for a second. Go back to my home so you can see what I did. So every project happens in what's called the studio. So this is my home. These are my projects. But anytime I want to edit one, I just click on it and that takes me to the studio. That is a little confusing at first. You're kind of looking for where's the new button, or how do I create a new something? You create a new thing by entering the studio, and that can either be found up or this menu right here, enter studio. And if you just enter the studio, it creates a brand new project, a brand new file. And you get options of choosing your format, music or podcast. Many of us might probably be choosing a podcast, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. It's essentially the same. The music one comes built in with the musical instruments and things like that, which of course obviously be great to use. But if you want kids to just record their voice, then you want to choose the podcast option. I can create a new track by clicking the plus symbol, and primarily we're going to choose the voice or the microphone option, which is what kids will be using to make the recording. The user interface really is directing me towards clicking the start recording button, and it's going to check my microphone level probably. You might want to do this with your Apple headphones with the microphone built in, but you can use the laptop microphone as I am doing now. So it'll prompt you to click that button, and now it is recording my voice on its own separate track. So if I stop that, and I don't believe I chose the sound to share settings. Let me do that to share setting to share sounds. Let me do that 1 second. Okay. Here we go. All right. So
yeah,
now you
feel free to invite us into this too.
Oh, great. Yeah, we'll show that. Yeah. Yeah, Morgan, jump in, please. If other things. So I just recorded this little sound example. This was me talking. I'll play it for you, I hope, now. So it'll prompt you to click that button, and there I am. Students would, any kind of podcast, you might have more than one speaker, so you could create multiple tracks. And this is why it's much better than using, just their sort of memo app on their phone or something like that. This allows them to create multiple recordings all embedded in the same place. So you could have multiple speakers, they could record multiple takes, but then most importantly, the kids will know how to do this. They can go in and edit the recording. So if they need to delete it or start over, obviously they can edit by deleting the regions and moving them around, things like that. Morgan had just mentioned the invitation feature, which is also really important when you're collaborating on a project. So you might set up a file. Your students are enrolled in Soundtrap. You can invite them to that file by inviting collaborators. So I'm going to this little feature over here. So I can invite any Choate student who has created their Soundtrap ID by logging in at least once. So there's Morgan. I can invite Casey, Kelsey, right? So I've just invited them to be a collaborator on this project. In a second, they'll accept that invitation. Kind of shows me up here if I'm waiting for an invite. But once they accept that, then they can come in and edit this file, like Morgan had said, like a Google Doc. So similarly, in the same way that multiple users can make changes on a Google Doc, we can now have multiple users, multiple students come into this project and start giving the recordings, adding tracks, doing whatever. They're editing it in the same way. So I don't know if Morgan, if you want to try to lay down your track.
Yeah, let's see.
Doing that, I do want to say one of the other podcast features is you can have a transcript, which is great. So I'll see. It gives me the option of which track I want to transcribe. And I selected that little bit. I confirm it, and then it gives me a transcript. So it's going to take a second to process, and then you will see the transcript, which might be useful for students if you need them to also submit the written part. Oh, so this is my transcription. Sorry. So it completed the transcription, which is what you're seeing right here. Okay, so I'm going to close that out. But I could always, I can see the transcript anytime. It's just going to keep updating as we record more stuff. So now, while we're getting a collaboration.
Let's try that.
Record. Right. Okay. Yeah. Did you record something?
Yeah, that's a totally
great. So if I get a little notification, I can hit sync, or Morgan could hit sync or save. And now Morgan can create a drum beat, it looks like. Yes?
Yeah, we'll call it that. Give it a listen.
Now it is recording. Okay. Oh, great. Casey Kelsey. Got something going on here. So again, I'm syncing, and we'll get Casey in here.
So this is important to note. That is a difference between this and what you're used to with Google Docs, where you actually do have to manually click sync. It doesn't just automatically.
Right, which is, it's a little, because it's like audio information, some things it doesn't happen as instantaneous. So anyone can hit sync, or if you hit save when you leave the project, it gets updated. Cool, so now we've got, you could change these, so I could say, I think this was Casey, and this was Morgan's beat. Okay, and now they're all happening together. And now it is recording my voice on its own sound here. Track. You can edit it and stop. Oh. Great. So that is the essentials of, I think, how you would want to get the kids putting in the material for a kind of podcast. I think maybe it's important now to switch to how you get it so that you can, obviously as the teacher, you could see it right here. And give them comments. So one nice thing about the collaboration tool is, we can give our students comments. Morgan, great job, right? Or whatever, to give them sort of some real-time feedback. But again, all this is saved in your Soundtrap home, and you have a link to it. You could title it, let's call this demo. Okay, all right, so when I go to my No Flight home, similarly, think of this as maybe your Google Drive home, maybe, but now here's my project that we just made, and I could go back into the studio if I wanted to edit it, or if my students wanted to edit it. Okay, and by the way, it shows up in your student's home as well, but you then have these share links. So, we could download it if you need to just get like an MP3 of it for some reason, or a WAV file. You could do that. There is a way within Soundtrap to make assignments, which could be useful. I'll show you in a second on how to connect it to Canvas, which is fine. But I could make a file, a new Soundtrap file, create an assignment and it's going to give me the option to link right to Google Classroom. So that is pretty cool. Or I could share this link. So if you don't want to use Canvas, or if you're not using an LMS, you could just copy this link, email that to your students, or share with them somehow, and they would
I just lost you.
Have access to it. Okay. Everybody still with me? You guys good? I think that is yes. Okay. So I'm just going to real quick show.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Okay. I'll just show the Canvas feature,
Yeah.
unless you want me to anything else before I leave Soundtrap. I'll go into the Canvas world, and then.
Can you edit the transcript if it doesn't transcribe it accurately?
That's a great question. Let's see. It's not something I've done, but I think maybe because some of the words were highlighted, I think I might have done that. So let's go and see. Like, yeah, I think I can. No, I can't. That would be nice if you could. Oh, yes, I can.
Oh.
Okay.
Click that button, and now it is recording my voice. Okay, so here's one cool thing about. Well, let me see if I can edit. The whole point is, you can find the audio in the text.
I hear you at the same time.
So if I double click on a word, it takes me to where it is in the audio.
Cool.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a long running thing, you want to go just to this part, double click it. But let me see if, which means I don't know if I can edit the word. I can just delete a word. Oh, and it edits it out of the audio, of course.
Huh.
Do you guys see that?
Yeah.
So while you can't change a wrong word, I can edit. So let's say like I didn't want this part of the sentence because it wasn't a very good sentence. I can do more than one word. Let's see. Try to do more than one. Okay. I deleted it and it took it out up here. So it's going to jump. Recording my voice. Okay. So that's useful. Rather than having to edit like a sound engineer might edit, where I would go into this region.
Right.
Show you. There's editing tools to edit the region. Sorry. Oh, maybe it's different in podcast. Okay. So I'm not even going to split this up, I guess. Split region. Okay. So I could edit this region by splitting it, finding the part that I wanted to take out, which is one way to do it, but it's kind of nice that you could just use the transcript feature. So if you wanted to take out certain parts of what you recorded, you could just select the words. Cool.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
Neato. All right. So real quick, it does integrate with Canvas. Morgan, Casey, or Kelsey can help teachers get it installed as an app in Canvas. And once it is installed on your course in Canvas, you'll see a Soundtrap icon in the menu options. And this takes you to your Soundtrap home. So if you want to get students enrolled or to their Soundtrap home, all they need to do is click that link, and it uses all of their Canvas information and automatically brings them to their Soundtrap home with their user ID. But then you can create an assignment and attach a Soundtrap file. So I select new assignment, give it a quick name. And then because it's an application that's an external tool, I want to choose the submission type of external tool. And it'll prompt me to browse, and I'll find Soundtrap. And there's one thing to note. This, as of right now, from the best of my knowledge, this only links when you create the file for the first time. So I haven't found a way to link a pre-existing Soundtrap file. Just keep that in mind. So I'm going to choose a brand new podcast file. Good to go. I go to File. Okay, here's one thing I do know. You have to hit Save. And I was having trouble unless I created something. So let me see if I can do that quickly. Maybe it's simply just, so I'll show you what I mean in a second. Because in order to attach it to an assignment, I need to go to File. Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. I need to save something in this project. So once I save something in the project, I go to File. Attach task to Canvas assignment will now be clickable. Say yes. Okay, and then it takes me back to Canvas. I just hit select and I'm good. And now, I can do whatever, my due dates, all that stuff, all that Canvas magic. When I save and publish it, it will show up as an assignment in Canvas. And when the student clicks that link, it goes right to the Soundtrap file that I created. So the benefit of this is it will, I believe, automatically show them as a collaborator. So you wouldn't then need to go and invite them. So, you could certainly do like we did at the start of this. You could create a file, invite them. But the nice feature is this gets it all set up in Canvas. And then let me just show you really quickly what it looks like for the student and how you might grade it. So if I go to student view for a second and I do this test and I load it in, it's going to show me something when I submit, I believe. Hold on. Okay, so I might do something. Okay, create my part. So I'll show you what I mean in a second. Okay. And now I've saved it. I'm listed as a collaborator. It's going to say test student. But it is nice, it gives the assignment, the due date, and all that stuff. But there's no submission thing. You, as the teacher, will need to see their work in Soundtrap, which kind of makes sense because that's where you got to see their work anyway. All right. I'll pause there. Questions?
Awesome. Thank you, Matt.
I would just add, Soundtrap is, if you haven't heard of it, it's been around for probably 7, 8, 9 years. It's used extensively throughout the world. They have a lot of great support, and it's a great application.
Yeah. When did Spotify buy it? Like a year or two ago?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, probably about a year or two. Yep.
It's quite impressive. I mean, we started using it around here in 2015, just using the free trial. And then, it's amazing how much it's developed since then. And now we have full access for now.
Yeah.
So great. Keep up the great work. Thank you for taking your time, Matt. I know you have to go to another meeting coming up.
Yep, to do Soundtrap with my students.
Oh, right. Got you warmed up.
Yep. All right. Thanks, you guys.
All right. Thanks
Bye,
again.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye.
Thanks. This was awesome.